the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.
Manchester, brace yourself. Rangers are coming!
Hi everyone and welcome to the next episode of the I Ready podcast. As ever, I'm your host Derek, with me is my co-host Dave, and let's hope Dave keeps his match reactions to under 20 minutes this time.
Derek, just because you are still hungover, jet lagged, tired for your whirlwind trip to New York is not my problem and not my fault. I think I done a very good job of the post-match last night. It was like therapeutic for me, shall we say. I got to let off some steam.
I'm glad, Dave, because I had to edit the bloody thing when I got in for the pub last night. So
edit perfection. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not going to say anything right there. But yes, we are back. It's been a couple of weeks since we're back. I've been on my travels. Dave's been on travels, I think. He's about to go on some more travels at the weekend. But we'll be back with this... going to be another heavy podcast, Dave. I think we're going to try and keep it as brief as possible because we've got 3 games to cover. 2 of them were shambolic losses, a 1 win in the cup. But from what I gathered, it wasn't a great performance, a slight improvement, but it still wasn't that great.
Exactly. I think that should just sort of summarised all three games if it may actually get into it, Derek.
Yes, we'll end the podcast right there.
Exactly, yeah. Martin out.
Yes, but we will, without further ado, we will go down the tunnel and onto the pitch. So the first game we've got to cover was Saturday the 13th of September. It was a 2-0 loss at home against Hearts in the Premiership. You know, we'll get into it in a second, but one thing I've got to cover, and I can't believe I'm actually having to say this on our podcast, for some weird reason, that absolute midden, Bonnie Blue, was in attendance at the game with her blue bang bus round the corner. So basically, she's not long pumped 1,000 guys, and then she took a step down that day to watch 11 guys get pumped on the park.
She certainly did, Derek. We're no needing that. In all seriousness, we as a football club, as a fan base, are not needing the likes of her turning up. We've already got that other one, the so-called Rangers supporter, I can't remember her name, turning up and tarnishing the name of the club, which is, you know, bad enough as it is at the moment. But the actual fact that there's videos of Rangers fans coming out of the bus and it is absolutely ridiculous. Get that as far to fuck as possible.
So, Dave, you've got the notes for this game here.
you might sound a wee bit more upbeat, Derek, for God's sake. Yes, I will keep this really brief, Derek, because it was 3 games ago. Everything has been, you know, everyone's spoken about this, the decisions during the game, so I will just go for the very brief talking points. I won't go into the match in great detail. The team that Russell Martin put out for this game against Hearts was Butland, Tavernier, Jigger, Suter, Migoma, Barron, Diomande, Asgard, Gassama, Moore and Majovski. Kelly on the bench along with Aarons, Rothwell, Chermiti, Cornelius, Barame, Ant-Man, Curtis and Danilo. So Tav back in as captain. Start for Mikey Moore. We're still looking to see him sort of do something for us, but it was, again, a very laboured first half. Hearts took early control of the game, and on the 22nd minutes, Hearts did get a goal, controversially, as we know, and it was basically a ball in the Hearts defence. It was played up to Lawrence Shankland in midfield, and as we've seen through all of the replays, Shankland clearly controls it with his arm. He plays the ball up to Braga, I think it was, who holds the ball up. Nobody challenges him. Nobody goes to barge him off the ball. He's allowed to control the ball and wait for Shankland, who isn't the fastest, to sprint past the rest of the defence. He puts a straightforward pass through to them. Shankland runs through and scores. So, Derek, Straight away, Shankland doesn't celebrate because he thinks it's getting chopped off. You can see him quite clearly saying it's not going to stand, it's a handball. You can see him clearly, but the goal was allowed to stand. It was farcical. Hearts were in control, Derek, but at the end of the day, the goal shouldn't have stood.
They are making up the rules as they go along. They've got it so convoluted now that they don't know what they're actually refereeing, and neither did the VAR officials as well. Now, there could have been a play for the fact that, well, it's so far back up the pitch, there was technically maybe one pass, there was another phase of the play there. But you go back to, was it last season, 2 seasons ago, when we got a perfectly good goal chopped off because Arfield fouled the Celtic player in midfield. We went right up the park and scored from it. That goal was chopped off. So
there's been so many other referees, and as you're probably going to get into in the news, the goal shouldn't have stood, but it did. Hearts were 1-0 up. Apart from the circumstances of the Hearts goal, they were well on top. We offered absolutely nothing in this first half. Nothing whatsoever. The only thing that I can really remember was 2 minutes into stoppage time in the first half. There was a really hard low shot from Gassama for outside the box, and it was saved by the goalkeeper out for the corner. That was really it. We never put them under any pressure whatsoever. As I said, 2 shots for outside the box, but one was really nothing. No wing play. Mikey Moore, I think he touched the ball once or twice. Everything broken down by Hearts. As soon as we tried to get out of our box, they knew what the game plan was, as every other team has. Wasn't going to change it up. Into the second half, Moore and Jigga were off. Ant-Man and new signing Derek Cornelius comes on to make his debut for Rangers, just to try and get a wee bit more balance into the team. But again, Hearts winning the ball easily from Rangers in their own half, making it really, really easy for them. Gassama, a few wee touches here and there. Another sub, Barron off, Rothwell on. We got a chance, again, a half chance. It was good play, but Asgard, he turns his man in the edge of the box. He gets past one player, puts the ball to James Tavernier, who we thought we might have had a shot on target as well, past the post. Then in the 64th minute, an incredible chance to equalise. Rothwell gets the ball, dinks it into the box. Majowski and Asgard both go for the same ball. Again, shows lack of communication. The two of them completely miss it because they almost bang into each other, and that's it. Chermiti then comes on for Migoma. Does try to change it up. The ball played up into a crowd of players. Now, our player jumps with a Hearts goalkeeper. This is on the 68th minute. This is the next sort of controversial thing. 68th minute. No pressure on the goalkeeper at all. There's no push. The keeper's not impeded, but he basically jumps up and completely flaps at the ball, makes a backside of it. The ball falls at the feet of Cornelius, who stabs it home. It's a perfectly legitimate goal, Derek. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. No infringement on the goalkeeper. But the ref disallows the goal. It doesn't look as if there's a VAR check at all, and Hearts get away with one as well. Now, we weren't playing well, Derek, but again, that goal should have stood. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that one.
I still really don't know. I think there was maybe a slight hand on the keeper, but not enough to impede him, not enough to push him or anything like that.
Definitely not.
It's just another one of these ridiculous decisions. Now, you can forgive the referee for giving the foul because he's seen things on the field, but this is where the ball's been in the back of the net. VAR needs to intervene there. And I don't know if it's a case of, well, the referee's made the decision initially and VAR can't intervene or not. I really don't know. But there was nothing in that whatsoever. And it's just
nothing.
The usual case of referees seeing the keeper getting involved. Oh, we need to blow the whistle because the keeper's involved. Keepers get far too much protection all the time. We know that. But when you don't actually see anything, and this is where referees need to come out after the game and say stuff, because we're just surmising what the referee's seen. Surely he's got to clarify if he's seen a foul or not there, because if he has, then he can't be refereeing on the pitch anymore because he's clearly just made that up.
Yeah. It was absolutely baffling. And again, I know that we weren't playing well, but we really should have had an equaliser there, Derek. And let's be honest, if we were going on legitimate goals, we should have been 1-0 up at that point. But wasn't to be. The game kept going. We were still getting beat 1-0. Another sub, Rothwell, even although he just came on not that long ago, he couldn't continue. He got injured. Barame, he comes on. And then on the 80th minute, another absolute shocker, I think. I don't know what you think about this, Derek. I've not spoke to you about it. Hearts were awarded a penalty. The Hearts player, I think it was Braga again, into the box. Now, Diomande puts his foot out. If there was any touch there, Derek, if there was any touch or any contact whatsoever, it must have been like a millimetre of his boot touching a millimetre of the Hearts player's boot. And of course, the Hearts player's looking for it. He can feel the touch or see the touch or thinks there is. He goes down and the referee awards the penalty to Hearts. What did you think of that one, Derek? Did you think it was, if there was any contact, for me, it was the slightest, and I felt quite aggrieved about that one as well.
I'll get into it once you wrap up this game because I've got a bit after the game to talk about. But for me, never a penalty at all. As you said, if there was a touch, it was minimal, but not enough to put him down like that.
So, Shankland steps up, hits the shot. Great save by Butland. Unfortunately, it rebounds straight to Shankland again. He bangs it into the back of the net. 2-0 to Hearts. And then after that, the game completely flat. Boos ring round Ibrox. There was 7 minutes to be added onto there. Hearts could have made it 3 on the 7th minute into injury time as they broke forward. They tore Rangers apart as they go forward. The ball is played to their striker. I don't know who it was. He has a shot right across the face of Butland, comes off the post, back out and cleared. Could have been 3-0, no problem. And, that's how the game ended. Ibrox, just that, as I say, a shower of boos. That was 5 games played and 4 points. And that put us to 10th in the league, Derek. At that stage, after that game, as everybody said, he should have been removed. He wasn't, and it was just an absolute shambles of a game. We showed absolutely nothing whatsoever. I actually don't think that Hearts played particularly well and got a very easy victory, although the 2 goals shouldn't have stood for me, but actually on the run of play, Hearts were by far the better team.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing. Hearts were the better team. You can't take that away from them. That's what's the problem, is the fact that we were so bad. We allowed Hearts to look brilliant. As you said, Hearts weren't all that great, but we made them look that good. And the fact that we were that bad is overshadowed 2, maybe 3 instances where they're game changers. They really are game changers. A goal that shouldn't have stood, a goal that should have stood, and a dubious penalty. Now, the KMI panel that weekend met and agreed that the first Hearts goal shouldn't have stood, should have been a handball. Our disallowed goal should have stood. There was nothing in it at all. They did agree, though, that the penalty was justified for Hearts. Again, I don't think that was correct. Also in that same KMI panel, Celtic had played the next day, I think it was, and they got a last-minute penalty that should never have stood, and the panel agreed that penalty should never have stood. Now, there were several other instances that weekend and in previous weekends that were standout, obvious issues that VAR has not intervened in, or the referees have made a mistake in, or VAR's made a mistake in. The officials this season have been absolutely diabolical. Now, this is highlighted the other ones because it's not just us that it's happening to. It's just very coincidental that we never get the rub of the green, but Celtic do get the rub of the green in this one here. But the point is, other teams have been massively impacted on this as well. Mistakes by the officials. Nothing has changed over the summer. Nothing is going to change. Colm can sit there with his wee TV show for vanity purposes only and say, we will coach the refs. He can say that all he wants, but if anything, it's getting worse. What does it take for this country, for the officials, for the powers that be, for the club's chairman to turn around and say to the SFA, this is not on, this is ruining the game. You either take VAR out of the equation altogether, or you get people in place that can actually referee games properly and referee VAR properly, because this is dramatically affecting games.
It was shocking, Derek, but the reason that these things are not is because we, as you say, one team seems to be getting the rub of the green constantly here. So we know that there won't be any major complaints made. We know how that is. It was just an absolute joke. And I'm not taking this away for how poor the Rangers were. And can I be honest as well, if this was any other season under any other manager, the fans would be going absolutely ballistic about these decisions. But I think the vast majority of the fans were so fed up with the way that Rangers were playing that they thought that maybe that game would be the final game of our current head coach. So I don't think there's been that much made of it. You know, a lot of people are annoyed about what happened, but I think everyone was thinking that because of that defeat, it was going to get rid of the head coach, and it wasn't. And I think that's been a big thing about it as well.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we talked about Russell Martin. The Rangers Supporters Association, who had previously made a statement wanting Martin out, again came out after the game stating the club were being damaged with Martin still being there. The Union Bears announced that they were going to organise a protest to get Martin and Patrick Stewart out. Now, on this Patrick Stewart thing, I kind of half get it, but I think there's a bit of misguidedness there coming there, because he was not the only one involved in appointing Russell Martin. Now, Thelwell's got to take the blame for that as well. So I don't know why he's not getting as much stick as well. I think Patrick Stewart's getting it in the neck because he made a massive misstep about blaming the fans about the banner for the Souness shotgun banner as well. So I think he's on a sticky wicket, but I think this is a wee bit misguided there, this one here. So the Union Bears were going to do a protest at the Hibs game on Edmonton Drive. Bearing in mind that's where the changing rooms are, and they were going to be protesting right at the point of team talks going on in the dressing room. It was also confirmed that Andrew Kavanagh was going to be in attendance for both the Hibs and Genk games. He was apparently over on routine business rather than coming over to specifically deal with the Martin issue, so that's quite clear that that's been the case then. A day or so after the Hearts game, the team had a trip to Loch Lomond and the players were seen cold water swimming. Now, it turned out that it was a team bonding exercise with walking up Connick Hill, and some of them took the opportunity to take a wee swim as well. So I'm not sure if it was an attempt to set some new age thinking by Martin, a genuine attempt at bonding, or a Gull and Dunes type thing. I can understand it, but it kind of made us of a bit of a spectacle again, right at a time when the knives are out for Martin, so he's going to be under a lot of scrutiny all the time. So
I think it made us look extremely amateurish, Derek. I think you're on about the Gull and Sands. That was something that was done for pre-season training rather than a bonding session. Why were the players not taken away somewhere private, out of prying eyes, where nobody kind of knew what was going on? But that type of thing is what used to happen with my son's boys team. You know, when he was 15, 16 year old, they would walk up sort of head for Ben Lomond, and then they would all come down. They would go to other hills. I can't remember the name of the one just outside Callander. They'd climb up there, and then they would all come down and jump in the loch after it and stuff like that. That's stuff that boys teams do. Not for Glasgow Rangers. And I realised that Russell Martin's saying, you know, it looked as if it was sort of team bonding because of anxiety in the players, and the players aren't adapting to what they've got to face by the supporters, or that's kind of what he was getting at. I think the whole thing with that annoyed me was the fans aren't annoyed at the players, Derek. The fans are annoyed at how the players are playing and being told how to play. So all the annoyance and the anger from the supporters in the stadium is towards him, not towards the players. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the players are naive enough to think that that's not the case. So again, trying to sort of divert attention away from himself and saying that it's difficult for these young players, we're no falling for that one. It's a pitiful excuse.
Yeah. This is the thing, we've said it before. I think we've got the basis of a good team there. It's just we need a new coach, because it's quite clearly, and we'll get into the game shortly, the ideas of the coach and the lack of coaching, the lack of ability to read the game and try different tactics are glaring and obvious for everyone to see. But anyway, into the next game, Saturday the 20th of September, it was a 2-0 win at home against Hibs in the League Cup quarter-final. Now, I was in New York, it was my last day, so I was a buggery going to be watching that game. Dave, I think you watched the game, but obviously we never got a post-match out, so a pretty lacklustre affair for part of it. Better in the second half, we got the goals, came maybe lucky with a handball decision that went for us this time, but I think Hibs could have been 2 or 3 up before we scored.
It was, again, very, very glaringly obvious, Derek, that attacking-wise, we're really not doing much at all. Obviously, as you alluded to there was a planned protest outside the stadium. The Union Bears had arranged that. They turned up early. There was a mass amount of people outside with Russell Martin and Patrick Stewart placards with their faces with the no entry signs over it and stuff like that. I wasn't too happy with the fans sort of shouting, "Martin, get to fuck," right enough. I think were better than that, Derek. But it certainly was a big scene outside. A lot of fans had stayed away as well in protest, didn't want to go to the game, so it looked as if it was a lot of big empty spaces there. I'm sure they said there was about 30,000 there, but I don't know if they were counting tickets that had been sold, not actually bums on seats, if you know what I mean. But anyway, Nicholas Raskin came back in for this game after being out in the cold. So it was Butland, Tavernier, Cornelius, Suter, Magoma, Raskin, Diomande, Asgard, Moore, Gassama and Majovski up front. First full starts for Cornelius, and like I said, Raskin back in from the cold. On the bench, Kelly, Aarons, Barron, Chermite, Barame, Antman, Jigga, Curtis and Danilo. We did have the bulk of possession early on, 12 minutes into the game. Protests again, as there was a shower of coloured tennis balls were thrown onto the pitch from the end where the Union Bears were. I'm not quite sure what that was to do, Derek, because at that stage we were having the bulk of possession but then stopped the play. So I thought to myself, what effect is that having? I don't know what the thinking was in that one. No sure. But big chance for Hibs though. 16-minute ball through to Bowie. He easily peels off Cornelius. A simple ball that was into him. Hits a shot wide of Butland, who sort of closed the space on him. Thankfully, it passed back to Mulligan and he hit the shot over the bar, so we got away with one there. But then Hibs did take the lead on the 19th minute or so, we thought, and it was simple. A long ball up for the edge of the Hibs box to Martin Boyle, who races past Cornelius. Very simple, long ball right over the top. He slots the ball under Butland. Butland did get a touch to it, but it did sort of crawl and sneaked into the far post. VAR did check it, Derek, and the ball did strike the hand of Martin Boyle, and the goal was disallowed. Now, Martin Boyle's hand, again, we're on about the handball rule, and his hand was kind of down by his side. It wasn't as blatant as Shanklin's, nowhere near it. He felt very aggrieved at that. The Hibs manager felt very aggrieved at that. And if it wasn't for the decision the week before with Shankland, do we think he might have got away with that one, Derek? Have you seen that one back?
I've seen that one back, yeah, and it was certainly from real time, and even one or two of the replays, it didn't look like much a handball at all. One angle clearly shows it was a handball, so yeah, I think we probably might have got away with that one there, just on the back of what happened at the Hibs. But then I say we might have got away with one. It was a clear handball when you looked at it at that one angle. So, you know, is the rules getting enforced for a change?
Yeah, perhaps. Anyway, you know, halfway through the first half, Rangers were having the bulk of possession. The one man that was the shining light for us through the first sort of 35 minutes was Nicholas Raskin, who was basically doing everything. He was all over the park. And what I had noticed was that Raskin was actually being allowed to take the ball out from defence into midfield. He was travelling with the ball, which is something that I hadn't seen all season. He was definitely Rangers' best player, but still doing absolutely nothing, really nothing attacking-wise. But on the 42nd minutes, we did take the lead, and it was a goal that we have seen before, actually, a goal that we'd seen at Parkhead last season, and it was Nicholas Raskin who scored it, and it was a corner in from the left taken by Tav, and there was Raskin to get in at the front post with a bullet header past the goalkeeper to make it 1-0 to Rangers, an almost carbon copy of the goal that he scored against Celtic. Really good goal, Derek, and delighted for him because he was our standout player up until that point.
It was a cracking delivery and a cracking header.
Yep. But again, defensive frailties because Hibs really should have made it 1-1. 2 minutes after that, again, a long ball up to the left wing and then a huge cross into the box. It left Boyle completely unmarked. I don't know what the defence was doing. They completely lost our defenders and he had a header. Thankfully, it was like an inch past the post. Could easily have been 1-1. Marking was shocking. So there was 4 minutes to be added at half-time and thankfully Rangers scored their second goal and it was 2 minutes into that added time. The ball was played into the box from Raskin again, who had been our best player, as I've said before. Mikey Moore, the first time I'd actually seen him do anything, he runs to the byline. The ball gets to him at the byline and he hits a first-time shot over the face of goal, and it falls for Majowski to tap it into the back of the net, make it 2-0 to Rangers and give him his first goal in a Rangers shirt. Great time for us to score just before half-time, eased the nerves, and as I say, that was just really about a 10 minutes, no even 10 minute spell, 6 or 7 minute spell where we had been on top, that we managed to get the second goal, Derek, and wrap it up for half-time. So we went in 2-0. Simple goal in the end, a tap-in for Majowski, but he'll be delighted to get off the mark for Rangers.
Yep, happy at that. Again, I can't really comment much because I've never seen it.
Yes, so into the second half. Great play by Gassama in the 54th minute. On the left wing, cuts inside. He hits a thunderous shot, skims the top of the crossbar, goes out. Almost 3-0 to Rangers. And this was all because of a mix-up in the Hibs defence. The ball, it was a back pass by the Hibs player in the left-back area, back to the defender. He completely misplaces the pass. It falls for Gassama, but he's got his back to goal. But he lays the shot off to Majowski. Majowski's just got the keeper to beat, hits a low shot for the bottom corner, but there's a great goal line clearance by the Hibs defender to get it away. So almost 3-0 to Rangers there. But again, it didn't really come from our play. It came from a really bad defensive mistake by Hibs. 2 then clumsy tackles and 2 bookings for Rangers on the 56th and 57th minute, both for Tav and then Diomande. 66th minute, a corner in for the right from Tav. Suter gets the head on it, hits it down, it's deflected out for another corner. Unlucky there. Barron comes on for Diomande on the 68th minute. A chance for Hibs. Low into the box. Good block by Cornelius and cleared. Moore and Majowski off. Antman and Chermiti on the 77th minute. Then Raskin and Gassama off on the 86th. Barami and Curtis on. And then a great chance for Chermiti to open his goal-scoring career for Rangers, because there's a great ball played through. He stays on side, runs in one-on-one with the goalkeeper, shoots low. To be fair to the keeper, he pulled off a good block with his foot and the ball went out, but that was a great chance for him. The only other bit of note here that I've got, Ant-Man with a really good run. This was in the 91st minute. Skips past 3 players, really good play. Nutmegs one of them, shoots agonisingly past the post. That would have been a fantastic goal, but again, it's not a shot on target. So that's how the game ended, Derek. A slightly better performance, like I said, but if it wasn't for that sort of period of 8 minutes near the end of the first half, where we managed to score the 2 goals, we seemed to hit Hibs at just the right time. I think it would have been a lot tighter. As I say, Martin Boyle scoring that goal, the handball, it could have went, but because of what happened in the Hearts game, it could have easily have went the other way. But defensively, we still looked really ropey and just making it really easy for Hibs, because Hibs seemed to be breaking away every time just by simple high, long balls up over our defence, and they were getting through almost every single time. But it was a 2-0 victory. It was something that we needed. Everyone was saying that Russell Martin had to win this game or he would be out. I don't know what's going to happen, Derek. I don't know how many more defeats we're going to have or whatever for him to actually go. But he got the victory in this case, and Rangers are through to the semi-finals of the League Cup.
Yes, that semi-final was drawn, I think, the day later, or was it the same day? I can't remember. And we were drawn against Celtic in the semi-final, so it was always going to be Celtic in the semi or the final. So it's not Celtic I fear as well, it's the other teams, and that's what's bloody strange about it. I don't fear Celtic because they've got their own problems just now.
They do have their own problems, Derek, and going by the last game, it was a very, very dull affair. They're having their issues up front. Also, that game will take care of itself. I couldn't call it, to be perfectly honest with you. I was going to say it depends which Rangers turns up, but there only really has been one Rangers so far this season, so we can only hope that it is a different version of Rangers that turn up in that game.
Yeah. So the last game we've got to cover tonight was last night, Thursday the 25th of September. It was a 1-0 loss at home against Genk in the Europa League Game 1. Dave, it was another abysmal performance. What else can I say?
It is, and it's just the same. There's nothing changes, Derek. A slight change of personnel. You know, the team that he put out, it was just one change. Chermiti coming in for Majovski, which I don't know about you, Derek. I found that very strange, considering I thought Majovski would be on a high for scoring his first goal in the previous game. But Chermiti comes in. I realise we spent a lot of money on him, but very surprised. So Butland, Tavernier, Suter, Cornelius, Magoma, Raskin, Diomande, Asgard, Moore, Gassama and Chermiti up front. On the bench, Kelly, Wright, Rothwell, Barron, Antman, Jigga, Majovski, Gentles, Danilo, Rice, Curtis and McCallion. Of note, playing up front for Genk was Celtic's a reject South Korean striker who caused us no end of problems throughout the whole game. So again, showing you how bad that we really are in defence. And in the first 5 minutes of the game, Derek, it was all Genk. They were on the front foot. They were coming at us. Thankfully, their final ball wasn't the best. It wasn't causing us too many issues, but still having lots of the ball. Half chance in the 15th minute, Magoma puts a cross in. It's cleared by the Genk defender. It comes to both Raskin and Moore. Raskin, I think, should have took the shot on. He didn't. He left it for Moore, hits the shot well wide. I thought that we had scored in the 17th minute. I really did. It was a great free kick in by James Tavernier on the right-hand side. Inch perfect to the back post. Suter is up above everyone. Headers the ball perfectly across the goalkeeper, heading for the opposite corner, and quite an incredible clearance mid-air by the Genk defender. Hats off to him. Brilliant defending. I thought we'd scored that one, Derek. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it was just an amazing piece of defending, and it was really the only one good thing we'd done all night, I think.
Yeah. Straight up the other end, Genk really should have scored. The ball in for the left for the wingers. Oh, in the 6-yard box, fires it over the bar. Don't know how he missed that. Thankfully he did. Genk again, 23rd minute, ball into the box. We just can't seem to get near their wingers, stop them from putting crosses in. It's a great first touch, to be fair, to the midfielder that got it. Diverts it past Raskin and hits a first-time shot, comes off the post, got away with that one there. 31st was a good challenge by Cornelius in the 6-yard box. Another ball in, manages to get in front of the striker, gets it away. I think it was again. And then on the 35th minute, really good play by Gassama on the left-hand side. He puts a cross into the back post. Tav is there. He jumps up. The Genk defender also jumps up with his arm out. The ball clearly comes off the defender's arm. His arm, you can't say it was in a natural position. That his hand was actually outstretched, Derek, and the ball struck it. Everybody in the stadium was looking for the penalty there. It went on to the replay. The commentators, again, sure that we were going to get a penalty out of it. It did go to a VAR check for the handball. The ref goes to the screen. We're expecting him to run back and point to the spot. But what does he do? He gives a free kick to Genk, and they didn't get anything. A complete joke. I still don't know what his rationale was at giving them a free kick when it was quite clearly a handball. I've obviously completely missed everything. I think all the commentators that were commentating on the game missed that as well. It was a clear penalty, Derek. It was a clear handball in the box.
There's a couple of fucking plums that are on your Twitter tonight trying to say it was a clear push, it was a clear push. They clearly don't know what the VAR was doing, and they don't know the actual rules of VAR either. Now, the referee let the play on. Then the VAR was obviously checking it as play was playing on. The referee stopped the game. He was then told to go over to the screen. Now, stop it there for a minute, because everybody's seen the fact that it was a handball in the box. Now, see, to be honest with you, I don't agree that should have been a handball, but in the letter of the law of today's rules, that was a clear handball. The VAR would not have told the referee to go over and check the screen if it wasn't for, you need to review that decision only about the handball. Now, the referees came over, looked at the screen and then said to Tavernier, he's brought the captains over first before announcing the decision, and he said that Tavernier has pushed the defender. Pushed him. There was absolutely nothing in it. There was virtually no push at all. Again, it all goes down to the thing that, right, you're allowed contact because it's a bloody physical sport. And this is where the referees are getting this completely wrong, both clearly in Scotland and in the European stage now. It is a physical contact sport. There is going to be jostling, there's going to be hands-on players. You're allowed to do that. But it's not enough to knock the player over or push him out of line or anything like that. So for the referee to say that that was a push and that was a foul to Genk is absolutely nonsense, because the VAR team would not have called them across to view the screen for a push, for a free kick, because they don't review free kicks. They review penalties, they review goals, they review potential dangerous play, but they don't review free kicks. So they've clearly seen that there was a potential for a handball there. They've called him over. The referee has not wanted to change his decision, and to save face, purely based on his own ego, he said that that's a push by Tavernier. Absolute fucking farcical, and even the commentators were like, that's a joke. So the two fucking idiots on our Twitter tonight, they can go and get to fuck. They're just bitter wee twisted fans. Don't give a fuck about them.
It was an absolute joke, and as I say, we just knew at that stage that we weren't going to get anything from this game. And then, things went from bad to worse, because in the 42nd minute, Mohamed Diomandé's shown a straight red card. Now, at first, it didn't look as if there was anything in it, because the tackle itself didn't look a harsh tackle or a hard tackle. It wasn't a slide, he didn't run and then slide right in it and take the player up. But when we look back on the replay, Derek, his studs were up. He did make contact, and obviously the Genk player is going to go down looking for him at least to get booked. But the referee comes out with a red card and he is off. What did you make of that one?
Like you, at first I thought, oh, here we go, the referee's he's making a howling arse of this. But on the replay, he's connected badly with the studs. And do you know what? See if he's making a challenge like that and it's a last-ditch thing, kind of running back or in our defence, I can almost forgive it. But it's in a nonsensical non-event of a place in the middle of the park. There was no need to make that challenge. Diomandé has sold the jersey there. Absolutely ridiculous.
It was, when you look back, I think he could have won the ball without having to do that. Derek, when you think back, I know it's in the heat of the moment and hindsight's a great thing, but at that stage giving us an uphill battle, and then 2 minutes into stoppage time, another absolutely farcical decision by the referee, because the ball is played into the box. Tav is going with the player. He puts his boot out. It didn't look as if there was any contact made whatsoever, but VAR get involved for there. The referee is over to the screen again, and then he comes back and points to the spot and gives Genk a penalty. Now, for me, we're talking about millimetres as well. If Tav's foot has touched the attacker's foot, there couldn't have been that much contact to make it look as if there was a foul, because we watched and we watched and we watched. And we thought at first, was it a pull by Tav in the box? Because that is what the commentators again thought it was for. They looked back, they couldn't see a pull anywhere. So we thought, well, there can't be a penalty because nothing's happened. And then when they looked back and they slowed it down to almost freeze frame, you could see that there was the slightest of nicks on Tav's foot onto the attacker's foot, and the referee gives the penalty. The softest penalty I think I've ever seen by using VAR, Derek. Another farcical decision for me.
It was more of a foul than the Hearts one, but I still don't think it was a foul, because yes, there was a slight nick by Tav's boot, but if you actually watch it back, that has then made the player trip over his own feet. He's actually clipped then his own heels from that one, or his own thigh from there, and that's what sent him over in more of a theatrical way. So for me, no, it's not a penalty. But again, I'm maybe looking for that through blue tinted specs there, but I don't think that was a penalty for me.
It certainly wasn't for me anyway. But the only cheer of the night, Derek, was steps up, and 5 minutes into stoppage time, fires it low to the right. Jack Butland pulls off a fantastic save and the ball is cleared. I had a feeling at that stage, because O had missed so many chances, that Butland was going to save it. I don't know about you, but I just had a feeling, and we got away with that one there. Like I said, the only real cheer of the night was because of the save. It was a good save, and it stayed 0-0, and it took us into half-time. So at that stage, we had really done nothing. The sending off, again, was well through the first half, but really we had done nothing. It was really lacklustre, really poor. I really can't remember us doing anything up front whatsoever. Our wingers had done nothing, apart from Gassama, who he looked maybe as if he could do something, but again, not able to get any support whatsoever, and it was just a really, really shocking first half. So at this stage, it's 0-0, Derek. Any manager really in the world at this stage playing in Europe would say, just don't get beat. Let's go out, beef up the defence, don't do anything stupid, try and keep it 0-0. That's it. And then, maybe getting to the end of the game, we could try and nick something, but we do absolutely nothing in the second half. It was as poor as I can remember. And I know we had 10 men, but how many times in the past, Derek, have we watched Rangers and we've seen us dig out performance after performance when a player gets sent off? It sometimes unifies the team when a player gets sent off when the backs are against the wall. But under Russell Martin, there's absolutely nothing. Anyway, getting into the second half, sub, Ant-Man on, Moore off. Moore had done nothing for me, Derek. Absolutely nothing. Didn't get on the ball, didn't create anything. So Ant-Man's on to try and give us something. I'm not quite sure what sort of formation that we were playing, if he was going to a sort of 4-4-1 with two in midfield, two wingers. I honestly don't know. I give up trying to figure out what formation that he is playing. But in the 47th minute, we did have a chance, and it was Asgard, and the ball was played into the box by Magoma. It was headed away by the Genk defender. It falls for Asgard on the penalty spot, and he had time. He had time to get control of the ball and hit a shot, but he just sort of sclaffs at it, fires it high and wide. A player out of confidence. He had more time than what he thought. Just poor again. We should really be making the goalkeeper work from there. 49th minute, fantastic double save by Butland. First one was a low shot he manages to get to. The ball's not cleared. Close range shot. Great save by Butland. Thankfully, it's cleared after that. 50th minute, another chance for O. He fires the ball wide from a cutback with the net gaping. Rangers living really dangerously. And then 5 minutes later, the inevitable happens. Genk get their goal, and the ball, a simple ball in the Genk defence. He looks up, he sees O in acres of space. None of our defenders are marking him. We're playing such a high line, and it's a simple ball right from their defence at the right back spot. Through, O runs through. Butland tries to narrow the angle, but he just sort of fires the ball just over the top of him, and it rolls into the back of the net, Derek. Poor defending, playing at an extremely high line when we've only got 10 men. Suicidal stuff, and we were made to pay for it.
You just said it there. Played a high line when we were 10 men. Now, it's been confirmed without a shadow of a doubt. This high line that we're playing, even with 11 men, it does not work. So why is he still persistent on playing it? And why is he persistent on playing it when we only have 10 men on the field? It just shows you the guy is tactically inept. He does not know how to change things during a game. He does not know how to change things for different teams. He's playing the exact same system, the exact same way, with the exact same players, largely some of them out of position as well, for St Mirren, as he's playing for Motherwell, as he's playing for Celtic, as he's playing for the European games, as he's playing against Alloa. It just does not work. His way of thinking is just absolutely nonsensical. And it's quite clear that he's set up to play this possession-based game. Right, that's great. We've got possession, but we're doing nothing with it. And a lot of these players are liable to make mistakes and lose possession. I mean, we lost possession in the Genk half several times last night. Even in our half, we lost it several times. And see, this is the thing. Genk are not world beaters. We still largely matched them when we were down to 10 men. Yes, they were getting the better opportunities, but in terms of possession based, we were largely matching them. I don't know if that's because they maybe sat off or not, I'm not too sure. However, they're not world beaters, and we're making these teams out to be world beaters, all because Russell Martin does not have a clue. I've said it time and time again, we have the basis of a good team here. We need to get rid of the tactics and the manager, otherwise we're going nowhere this year. Absolutely nowhere. We had Thursday nights to look forward to in the last couple of years. We are not even going to get that now. We have got a very, very favourable group or set of games. We've now fucked the first one. We've got one coming up straight away next week. We're going to fuck that as well if this doesn't change very quickly.
And as I say, at that stage, we offered very little. Gassama, again, the only sort of bright spark up front, as I've said in the last few games, the only one that looks as if he could do anything. He was unlucky on the 63rd minute. He was on the left wing. He cuts inside, hits a shot just past the far post. And then we thought that Genk had scored their second goal in the 70th minute. And it was that old story of the attackers getting the ball to the byline, cutting it across the 6-yard box, and came in for his second goal. Thankfully, VAR checked it, and both players, the first attacker who put the ball in and were both offside, so that goal didn't stand.
See what's really concerning about that? I don't know if they've changed the rules again with offsides, but was a million miles offside, and it was the player. They actually drew the lines to the player that played it up to him, and was still celebrating the goal as they were checking because he thought no, it was going to stand. But even though was offside, he never initially touched the ball, but the ball was eventually crossed into him. So are you trying to tell me that wouldn't have been ruled offside if that player who played it to him was not ruled offside to begin with? I really don't get that, Dave. I was baffled by that one.
Again, you try and make sense of a lot of decisions that are put, and again, we're absolutely baffled, and it's leaving more questions than it does answer. At that stage, we were just happy that they didn't score against us, Derek, because anything could have happened. When it first happened, I was just going absolutely mad about the defending until I seen that it was offside, and it wasn't given. So thankfully it wasn't. It was still 1-0. Gassama trying anything he could to do something for us. Like I say, the only one that looked as if he could, but he gets booked for a dive in the box. He did go down too easily looking for a penalty. There was a triple substitution in the 80th minute. Too little, too late. Rothwell for Asgard, Barron for Cornelius, Majovski for Chermiti. And then in the 88th minute, the last sort of half chance, Gassama gets to the byline. He cuts the ball back to Raskin. He sort of has a shot. It deflects to Barron, who was really unlucky. He hits a rocket of a shot. I thought it was goal bound. But the Genk defenders know how to defend, and they charged the ball down. It was cleared. And there was only 3 minutes added. There should have been more just with the amount of things that were happening, but we weren't doing anything anyway, so it didn't really make much of a difference. And again, we went out with a whimper. Now, when I was doing the post-match last night, I actually paused it because as I was doing the post-match, Russell Martin came out with his post-match, and I had to actually listen to what he was saying, and it made me even more angry because he actually came out and said that we controlled the second half, and, the decision didn't go against us for the penalty, which should have, and he was basically blaming the whole game on that decision. I don't know what game that he was watching, Derek, because it looked to me as if Genk were the amount of clear-cut chances that they made in that game. It could have been about 4 or 5-0 at the end. We certainly didn't control anything. As you say, Genk maybe took their foot off the gas at a couple of points in the second half where we had more of the ball, but we did nothing whatsoever. And I find it quite incredible. He's so arrogant. He still is blaming everything else, bar his tactics. It's baffling. Anybody can see that we're going backwards. Anyone can see that we're not creating anything during the game. Anyone can see that we're playing this high line and making it very, very easy. But he seems to be more impressed with the fact that we can keep possession for long periods of the game without doing anything, just like what you highlighted there in that last game. It's getting tiresome now. Everyone's fed up. There's been protests, but we're just expecting it. There's none of us are expecting this to turn around now. There's none of us expecting Rangers to actually play well in a game. We are just expecting this turgid, absolute bore-fest football where we are creating nothing and giving the ball away far too easily.
What's concerning is the fact that there was, I think, 13,000 or between 13 and 15,000 short of capacity last night, which is unheard of for a European game for Rangers in the past 7 years or so. I worked it out roughly. That's round about, between the 4 games, if that continues on, that's about £3 million we've dropped just on ticket sales. Never mind hospitality, never mind incidentals like going into Edmiston House and buying a few beers or buying halftime pies or whatever, buying merchandise to these people. We're losing money. Can the owners not see this? And this is what the big concern about now. We know that Martin's fucked, but they're not willing to pull the trigger. And the more and more this goes on, the more and more people are going to not come to games. And unless they actually get their finger out quickly about this is going to continue on. And even when they get a new manager in, you'll not see a massive influx of people coming back. So I do not know what they're playing at, because it makes no business sense whatsoever. The results are poor. In fact, the results are shocking. The performances are even worse. And now you've got to the stage where fans are not turning up. Where's the business model there? They've spent a lot of money during the summer. They're not going to get their value for money here, and they're just going to need to spend more money after more money. So I really don't understand what Kavanagh and Moratti's thinking and this is now. I really don't. It's concerning. And fans are quite right voting with their feet with this one, because, and I know they're maybe trying to be stubborn and dig their heels in and, oh, this is going to work, but there's been no signs of it. See if you've seen that there was actually signs of things working like there was in the Gerrard time, you would forgive a few bad results
100%.
here and there.
Yep.
But there's been nothing. We're getting 0 performances. We're getting 0 results. I think 4 in 14 competitive matches he's won. That's fucking abysmal. And one of them was against Alloa, by the way, which we nearly fucked up. So it beggars belief about what's happening just now at the club. So we're going to have to pick ourselves up again, because we've got a quick run of games again. Sunday the 28th of September, that's away against Livingston in the Premiership. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. I would be fully expecting to beat Livingston, but the way we're playing, absolutely not. Then we've got Thursday the 2nd of October, that's away against Sturm Graz in the Europa League Game 2. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff, or it might be a 1945, I can't quite remember. And then to round out the October before the international break, Sunday the 5th of October, away against Falkirk, again in the Premiership. That's a 1500 kickoff. So, you know, these games, 2 of them at least on paper, should be relatively easy, but they're not going to be because of the way we've set up and the way we're playing.
Any self-respecting football manager having that amount of games and seeing that their tactics aren't working would surely try and change it. They would surely try and go for a different style of football. Any self-respecting manager would do that, apart from Russell Martin. His backroom staff that he's got alongside him, surely they can see it also and say to him, this isn't working. We need to go to plan B. We need to do this. We need to do that. But that's not happening either. I have never seen it, ever. You know, when I'm watching, you always see managers who are struggling saying, right, it's not working. We need to change it up. We need to change the way our defence is laid out. We need to start being a bit more direct. But he just seems completely involved in himself so much and so arrogant that he's not willing to do it. That's another thing that's puzzling about it as well.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, we've spoken enough about that veg-eating muncher, but it's now time for the news. So a few bits and pieces in the news to cover this time. We mentioned it in the last pod, and we never knew if a charge had been levied against us or not. However, a couple of days after that pod, Rangers confirmed that UEFA had fined us €20,000 for the pyro against the Bruges game, and they gave us a suspended 1-game ban on away supporters if similar incidents happen in the next 2 years. So, well done. Well done. That's a tightrope now that innocent away fans are walking on, and a tightrope on a stand closure at Ibrox for the exact same thing about pyro and silly banners as well. We've also got 500 less tickets against Celtic in the Cup semi as well, as they have for the exact same thing as well. Really all down to selfish idiocy. It's not like we have our problems to face right just now. I mean, listen, you might not agree with it, but in terms of the European stuff, it's UEFA's ball. Their rules, we've got to go by it. Well, you might not agree with it, but you need to do it. And it's now the same with the SPFL because they are starting to clamp down on it. All because you want to fire a wee silly bloody flare about. Innocent fans are going to miss out for this one now, and it means we're not getting revenue in as well. Absolutely stupidity.
Do you want to know what I found at some of the replies when it first came out? And I thought to myself, this is ridiculous. Some of the people defending what had happened and said, how come other teams that have done it, when you see it constantly, there's never anything happens to them? That's not the point. That's not the point. Oh, well, that's not... We are being told not to do it. It's happened before. We've been warned about it. And it still hasn't deterred them from doing it. I don't care about other teams, what they're doing. I only care about our team. And I hate it. It really, really annoyed me that was the first thing that was put out there. Oh, well, fuck them, because other teams are doing it and they're not getting punished. We are getting punished, and we did get warned and given plenty of notice about the warning before, and they still can't abide by these rules, Derek. Absolutely ridiculous.
I'm fed up with it, Dave. The next thing here, humorous moment on BBC Scotland when Peter Lovenkrands was a pundit on the Scotland-Denmark game a week and a bit ago. He said that Denmark have had a lot of possession and a good lot of opportunities, and they just need that last pass to open Scotland up a bit. And then went on to say, I would say it's been positive for Rangers. Scotland. So...
Fantastic. Superb.
Can take the man out of Rangers, but can never take Rangers out the man.
Aye, absolutely brilliant.
Next thing here, worryingly, the company behind our back of shirt sponsor GuavaPay have suspended all customer transactions and services due to unresolved issues with the Financial Conduct Authority. They've got payment terminals around the ground as well, however they apparently don't hold our customers' money, so that's one thing that's good. Millwall have been suffering from that apparently. So I'm not sure how it impacts the club. I would like to hope that any sponsorship money has been paid up front and we don't lose out for this one just in case they do go to the wall. It's not the first unheard of company that Bisgrove has brought in to partner with us that have gone tits up as well. So as much as he was looking out about the place and, he did get the revenue up and all that, the commercial side up, he's led us down a few wrong garden paths by the look of it with these type of companies.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, definitely.
So it's now time for Fessel Corner.
Do you like Dick? No, I don't like the Dick, but I like Dick Advocate, you know what I mean?
Now, this is going to be me when Eric Clapton dies. When David Bowie died, I called in sick at work for a whole week, went to a special memorial service at Hansa Studios in Berlin, appeared on TV and was interviewed by The Guardian, totally got away with the sickie. Bowie, better than work.
Fair enough. For a snake.
I love wafting farts towards my husband's face with a hand gesture exaggerating the Queen's wave. When my husband smells it, he says, "We are not amused," or "Annus horribilis" in her voice. I'm 53 years old.
Now, that's kind of the opposite in my house. It's usually the other way about. It's me that's doing that, Derek, but no, very good.
Had a 2-minute fumble with the wife and my new smartwatch said, "Good effort." It's the only positive sexual feedback I've ever received.
Superb. Oh, dear.
In the pub carrying 3 pints, my mate came up behind me and pulled my pants down. Undies came down too. A roar of laughter went up. A few weeks later, spotted him filling up at the petrol station. I snuck up behind him and pulled his shorts down. It wasn't him. That's outstanding.
Oh dear.
On the tube home late at night, my girlfriend stole some of my food. I asked her to give it back and she spat the half-chewed food out onto my hand and I ate it. People on the train were disgusted and said as much. She later stuck her tongue in my arse. Who's the disgusting one now? He has a point.
Fuck, could even go to festival and say something like that. Oh, that's mugging.
I've been calling a guy at work a weapon for the last few months as I thought it was a term of endearment, like you think someone is dangerously good at their job. He's reported me to HR.
Yeah, fucking weapon. Dear.
And to round this out, I ate a pepperami not knowing the sleeve around it wasn't edible. I pulled the sleeve out my arse in the shower a couple of days later.
Oh, superb. Derek, they've been some of the best ones you've had recently. They really are.
So,
oh, dear. Thank God that's gave us a wee laugh on this pod. That was brilliant.
On that note, we will end the podcast. So it's not been a very cheery one once again. It'll only be a cheery one once Martin's out.
I just don't know. I think we're all now in the same boat, Derek, that it is, we're just completely fed up. We keep saying it. We've had protests, we've had everything, but nothing is changing. Nothing is changing whatsoever. And as you say, we've got 3 games coming up, and I honestly don't think that we'll get 3 victories. If we get 2 victories, I will be very surprised. If we end up dropping points against Livingston or Falkirk again, I wouldn't be surprised, because we're not doing enough to be able to go out and, confidently say that we're going to beat these teams. So I'm not looking forward to it, and that's just no me. I'm usually very upbeat when it comes to Rangers, but I just can't be with him in charge.
No. So all that's left to say is thanks for listening and goodbye.
Goodbye.
And the stadium erupts in red, white and blue. You've never seen anything like it.
Let's go.
Manchester, brace yourself.